Coming up on a very special New Year's edition of the TCTV Training Show, we're going to take a look at a day in the life of a rowing crew. We're going to learn how to pick and cook wild mushrooms. We're going to take a tour of the local fire station. Plus, we're going to see what haunted houses were in Olympia in October. So grab your noisemakers because the TCTV Training Show is coming up next.
It's the TCTV Training Show. The TCTV Training Show. They're learning how to shoot and learning how to light, learning how to mic and edit right. These are TCTV's finest in training, doing their best with focusing and framing. It's the TCTV Training Show. The TCTV Training Show. You're watching TCTV. It's the Training Show. The TCTV Training Show. They will get better.
Hi there, and welcome to the TCTV Training Show, and Happy New Year! My name is Peter Goodmanson, and I'm a media trainer and facilitator at Thurston Community Television. Well, right now, I'm on the streets of Training City, waiting to bring in the new year. I thought, while we were waiting, it might be a good idea to show you guys some of the video segments my students in the digital field and editing class have made. This is a $20 class that members can sign up for after they've taken the orientation, and they learn how to use our 3-chip cameras and equipment, as well as how to edit videos. And they've put together 2 to 3 minute videos that showcase what they've learned. So we're gonna watch each one and talk a little bit about it afterwards. So without further ado, our first video is by Leroy Hurt, and he went and took some footage of some rowers. So this should be good. Check it out.
Some of the oldest guys are in their late 70s, and they're still out there rowing their singles. The number 8 seat in the boat is the stroke seat. It's one of the very first things that they tell you is you have to follow that person and all act as one. When we were doing the relays, that's teamwork. You're working as a team to get the lowest score that you possibly can. Washing and drying the boats, you split up into, sub-teams, I guess you would call it.
So really with rowing, I've just learned that having to try and build those relationships with your other teammates to make a stronger bond.
It takes the work out of teamwork.
With rowing, a boat full of guys who are working together, if they aren't very strong, can always beat a boat of guys who are really strong but can't work together.
You get to come together at race day and see what all of your work and stuff has come together to produce, and it's that great racing atmosphere.
Training Show.
Hey, we're back. Leroy, nice video. You had a lot of great footage. Some of the kids running up and down the docks, cleaning the boats, etc. And this was composed primarily of B-roll footage, which is kind of extra footage that you can use usually during an interview or some other thing like that. Now, you didn't have this to integrate that with. Instead, you have titles, which is perfectly fine. But something felt like it was missing. I think your production definitely could have benefited from either some ambient sound in the background, the waves splashing or whatever, or some kind of music perhaps. Don't feel obligated to remove the audio from your B-roll footage. Sometimes it's good to have just a little something to fall back on in case there's a moment of silence in your video. And what you can do is you can just toggle on your rubber bands and kind of bring that audio level down to maybe -20, -25, something like that, so that it's not overwhelming, but it still has a presence there in your video. I caught a few times where your audio started from absolute silence, and it doesn't have to be that way. In the Effects tab, there are some transitions you can use called the crossfade, and you can just drop those onto the beginnings and ends of each little quote you put in there, and to use it so it sounds a lot more smooth going into it. It kind of fades up from nothing instead of just nothing, 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 BAM! Leroy, I want to give you props for including so many great quotes from all the kids. It sounds like you put a lot of work into trying to get into their heads and see what they're really thinking about their day-to-day practice and workouts and things. So, great job on that. You could even improve that formula by combining a voiceover with the quotes to help fill in some of the gaps between their responses. Leroy, thanks a lot for your video segment. We're going to go on to our next producer. This person is Ryan Harris, and he made a video about picking and cooking mushrooms. So, take it away, Ryan.
I'm Kevin Blaylock. I'm a chef and teacher, and we're out here right now in the woods of the Pacific Northwest harvesting mushrooms and truffles. Watch soon for the next 5 episodes where we show you how to cook these beautiful delicacies that come from our local forests. The series will be based around sustainable ingredients here in the Pacific Northwest, but mainly forest products, different types of mushrooms and truffles harvested right here in the Pacific Northwest.
Today we're going to be preparing a rack of lamb with roasted winter vegetables, and of course the star of the show today is going to be the chanterelle mushrooms that we just hunted last weekend, and they are nice and firm. We let them rest out for a night and clean them, and they're nice, dense, beautiful mushrooms. First thing that we're going to season it with is kosher salt and ground black peppers. From here we are going to go ahead and add just a touch of olive oil. We're also now going to rub in lots of golden sage, and we're also going to add a little bit of chopped parsley on both sides. Brings out a little fresh flavor. Let this piece of protein sit on the counter at room temperature from anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. Now we're going to go ahead and sear this lamb off on both sides. So we're going to coat the pan nicely with some of that olive oil. You can see it's starting to smoke. Use a pair of tongs. And we're going to let that rest as we prepare the roasted root vegetables. What we're going to first add here is the golden beets, which are becoming more available today. We're going to add in some peeled carrots. We are going to add in some parsnip. We have some nice turnips. And then what we did is we took a red onion, and I call this pedaling, but you basically just take small wedge cuts and then just peel off the individual petals. We're going to add in just enough olive oil to coat the vegetables, just very, very lightly. You're going to want to add some kosher salt. So we're going to take our pan. This is just a typical roasting pan, nice copper one. What you want to do is take a nice couple sprigs of thyme, and so you can see we've just laid those around simply like that. And now we're going to place them into our preheated 425 degree oven. We're going to grab that rack of lamb that's been resting nicely, that was previously seared. We're going to add it into the pan. So at this point we're also going to want to add our chanterelle mushrooms and our garlic. We'll also add in some of our chanterelle mushrooms here at this point. We're going to pop that into the oven So we're going to add in just a small amount of oil, olive oil. We're going to add in our shallots. At this point we'll add in our garlic. We're going to add in our finely minced chanterelle mushrooms, the fresh chanterelle mushrooms. We're going to add in about half. We're also going to take this opportunity to add in just a few, maybe 3 or 4 of our dried chanterelle mushrooms. And we're going to add in, off the heat, just a nice dry white wine. Probably going to add in about a cup and a half. Okay, at this point we've reduced this mixture by half. We're going to go ahead and pour in some heavy whipping cream. I'd say probably just a little bit less than a cup. The finishing of the sauce is going to be done with whisking in whole cold butter and adding kosher salt to taste. I'm going to add in our chanterelle mushrooms, a nice pinch of fresh parsley. This is the roasted rack of lamb with winter vegetables and chanterelle mushrooms.
TCTV Training Show.
Ryan, nice job on your video. I was a little confused as to why you hunt mushrooms rather than just pick them, but maybe chanterelle mushrooms are just a little more dangerous than others. So, I liked your zoom out at the very beginning. That was very artistic, and it's a great way to start a video. You had a nice little introduction out in the forest, and you eventually migrated to the kitchen where you started to cook things. I noticed that you used a pretty advanced technique. What you did was you chopped up little parts of the video where you added ingredients and you would speed those up to make your video faster. Now, this was really effective, except the part where you could see his lips flapping in between it. And as an audience member, I feel like I'm missing whatever little nuggets of information he's saying during that part. Now, Ryan, I remember when you were editing, you added some extra sound effects to your mix. And for those of you who are watching at home, if you didn't detect that, when the chef was cooking something on the stove, you could hear this really loud sizzle, and it kind of added a little more to the experience, even though it wasn't actually there when he was filming it. I really appreciated that you added music to your introduction, and I do recognize that music from our free folder. Now, Ryan, your project was pushing 5 minutes. I know that it sometimes can be hard to chop your projects down to time, but that's a really, really important skill to learn for editing in general, because you have to know what is important, what I want to show to people, and what might kind of drag on a little bit too long or make them lose interest. Anyway, I thought this was a great idea for a great local food source, so good job, Ryan. I think we're going to go on to our third segment. This one is by Nada McCoy, and she went to one of the local fire stations to see what life is like inside. Let's watch.
Welcome to Grand Mound, Rochester area's new spacious fire station. 5 large drive-through bays are in the front. The station's pride is their original 1947 GMC fire truck. This rig is used for our small brush fires. The station has a variety of vehicles for fire, rescue, and medic. Here's the firefighting gear laid out and ready to go. The station has a nice spacious kitchen, a lounge area with recliners, and a large TV projection screen. Up to 17 firefighters can be housed in the sleeping area. The main office has boards and newspaper clippings hung on their walls. Back side of the station shows the large drive-through bays and employee parking areas. The back lot also houses the Fire Flash Training Simulator. Nice big yard and a basketball hoop for staying in shape. Now recruiting volunteers. Call 273-5582.
Wow, Nada, I was blown away by this. You had great B-roll, you had music, you had a voiceover, you had pretty much everything I'm looking for a great starting video. I was especially impressed at how the music dipped down during the voiceover so it didn't drown out the voice. This was perfectly executed. And for those of you who don't know how to do that, all you have to do is toggle on your rubber bands and select your pen tool from the toolbar, and then make 4 points along the volume. And your first point is going to be before the voiceover starts. The second point is going to be a little after the voiceover starts. And the second point is going to be a lower decibel than the first one so that the music fades down as the voiceover is starting. And then the third and fourth points are fading up at the end of the voiceover so that your music just drops in and out as you speak. So it sounds fluid and natural. And your audience will really appreciate it, trust me. Now, your music did pop every once in a while, and you can avoid this. The problem was that you were using MP3s in your timeline. Now, Final Cut works with MP3s, don't get me wrong, but not as well as it could. Using iTunes, you can convert those MP3s to something a little bit more readable by going up to the preferences and changing your output settings to AIFF, and then telling it to convert to that. Well, thank you, Nada. Our final video segment is from Bill Williams and Robin Lindsay, and they went to a haunted house, and I guess they decided it was a little too cheesy, so they decided to make a new video and kind of make it like a Blair Witch style thing where the filmmakers ran into some trouble along the way. So you just have to watch it for yourself. Check it out.
The Thurston County Scare is a haunted event that we put on here at the fairgrounds, utilizing as much of the fairgrounds as possible where people get to walk through and be scared. My favorite part is probably the looks on people's faces or listening to them talk on their way out, because I work up at the front at the ticket booth where, you know, they just talk about, oh my gosh, I was so scared and I screamed so much, or I wet myself, or, you know, things like that. It's always pretty interesting.
Training Show!
Fantastic video, you guys. I really, really liked that. You had a lot of excellent shots to choose from. You turned some shots negative to make it even scarier. You had like sheets blowing in the wind and long shots of graveyards and gravestones and things and scary monsters, and it was just a kick. I saw that you used the typewriter title to spell out words letter by letter, maybe to add even a little bit more tension. One thing that may or may not have been intentional is the full screen versus the widescreen shots. Now, if it was unintentional, then I would suggest lopping off the tops and bottoms of the full screen shots, give it a letterbox mode, and you can do that in Final Cut Express, just to make all the shots more similar. So overall, you guys did a really, really great job, and I look forward to seeing what you guys will produce at TCTV in the future. Please come back. I want to see your programming. So I think we're at that point in the program where we're going to go to our training tip of the day, and this one is made by Dan Bennett, a staff member here at TCTV. So Dan, take it away.
It's the TCTV Training Tip of the Day. TCTV Training Tip of the Day. TCTV Training Tip of the Day.
Hello, my name is Dan Bennett, and this is the Training Tip of the Day. As you may know, TCTV provides many services to local community residents and to local governments through contracts. Members can book the fully equipped television studios and produce anything from a talk show to a talent show. Members can also check out equipment such as cameras, tripods, and microphones for projects out in the field. Then they can come in and edit their material in our edit suites. And aside from all that, there's one thing that I haven't told you about. Yes, that's right. Today's training tip is the all-powerful dub rack. That would be this thing right here, this rack-like structure with objects on it. And so, you might ask, what is a dub rack? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Once upon a time, there was an ancient device used to inscribe recorded video and audio data that had been captured by an equally bulky video camera. This primitive apparatus was big and dark and very heavy. It was called a VCR, and it used massive VHS cassettes. Its long since fossilized predecessor, known as the mysterious 8-track tape, can be found buried beneath piles of National Geographics at yard sales, flea markets, and thrift stores. Indeed, eons ago, these bulky contraptions were used across the land. Now, in these more modern times, we use minuscule storage devices like wafer-thin discs and portable plug-in mass storage containers the size of our thumbs with vast amounts of saving capacity. So, what our team of rocket scientists here at TCTV have created is a mobile system that translates various kinds of media from one kind to another. The dub rack facilitates a way to convert your media to an alternate format, just like converting a park bench into a Barco lounger. Members can convert the following formats to the following formats: VHS to mini-DV, mini-DV to VHS, VHS to DVD, DVD to VHS, mini-DV to DVD, DVD to mini-DV, VHS to VHS, mini-DV to DVD.
VHS to mini-DV, mini-DV to VHS, VHS to DVD, DVD to VHS, mini-DV to DVD, DVD to mini-DV, VHS to VHS, mini-DV to mini-DV. VHS to mini-DV, mini-DV to VHS, VHS to DVD, DVD to VHS, mini DV to DVD, DVD to mini DV, VHS to VHS, mini DV to mini DV.
First, keep in mind that you, the member, must provide your own discs or tapes. Okay, so here's how it works. There are 4 components. On top is the monitor, so you can see what is being dubbed and know if your recording is working properly. Next is the DVD player recorder, which will burn blank DVD minus R's. Important note, do not use DVD plus R's. They won't work. Below is tape deck A, which will record to and from a mini DV and VHS within its own housing, besides other decks. And on the bottom is tape deck B, which is identical to tape deck A, but is in fact tape deck B. The best way to tell the difference between the two are the large letters A and B located on the front panels. The rack is portable, so it can be moved if needed. There are also user-friendly instructions. Maybe not those. Maybe that's too simple. Yeah, those'll work. And that one's pretty good too. And there are also helpful staff to make your dubbing experience pleasant and efficient. This has been the Training Tip of the Day.
Well, there you have it. Thanks for watching the TCTV Training Show. If you want to watch future episodes, remember it airs Thursday nights at 8 and Sundays at 3:30 on TCTV's Channel 22. Now, I thought that since it's the new year, we should celebrate with a little bit of sparkling cider, huh? What do you say? I don't have a cup for you, but I'm gonna definitely enjoy this myself. So remember, if you want to become enrolled in the TCTV training classes, all you have to do is go to our orientation, and that's free to do. You can learn about our rules and regulations, how we operate around here, and decide whether or not you want to become a member. It's $35 to be a member, and after that you can take any of our classes, and one of those is the digital field and editing class, where you'll learn how to do really awesome stuff like you've just seen tonight. So I hope to hear more from you guys. You can call us up at 360-956-3100 or go online to our website at tctv.net and click on training in the menu for more information about our classes. So here's to my class, here's to 2010, and for those of you sitting on your couches out there, remember, even you can be a producer too. My name is Peter Goodmanson. Have a happy new year.
It's the TCTV Training Show. The TCTV Training Show. They're learning how to shoot and learning how to light, learning how to mic and edit right. These are TCTV's finest in training, doing their best with focusing and framing. It's the TCTV Training Show. The TCTV Training Show. You're watching TCTV. It's the Training Show. The TCTV Training Show. They will get better.